What if death isn't the end, but simply the beginning of a different kind of a connection? Today we welcome psychic and physical medium Julie Adreani, whose abilities intensify after a near-death experience. Julie practices transfiguration and physical mediumship, exploring extraordinary phenomenon through red light séances and spirit circles. She is also the author of Message from Beyond, One Woman's Journey into Physical Mediumship. Today we'll explore what happens when the veils part, why spirits may appear under red lights, and what these experiences reveal about life after death. And also Bonnie Burkert is joining me. I'm Tony Sweet with Truth Be Told. Please welcome to the Truth Be Told studios for the first time, Julie Adreani. Oh my gosh, another episode of Truth Be Told and Truth Be Told Transformation with Bonnie Burkert. Yay!
Thanks for having me back, Tony. It just was such an incredible week. I really thought that we should touch base and connect. There's a lot going on, and I just know that our guest, Julie Adreani, is really going to sort of tie into what all's been happening. So tell me about your week. Tell me about your week, Tony.
Well, my week, I mean, other than just being busy with work and also the Parapod Awards coming up on Monday, so I'm excited about that.
Okay, exciting.
But I think, you know, the world has been really having this heaviness, and it's always it's hard to figure out what all this means. You know, is it like, are we being punished? Is the Mother Nature fighting back? You know, with Nepal Tibet have this, you know, terrible mudslides and flooding, and then of course the amazing Dolly Parton passing. And for me, I think, especially, I'm going to start with Dolly. You know, I never met her. I've known people that have met her. They said she is just like she is on stage as she is in person. She was always she made herself the butt of the joke, and she was always so welcoming to everybody. Didn't matter politics or whatever your lifestyle was, she was just so welcoming. And I feel sometimes that she was just angel on earth, you know, that just opened up her heart and let everybody feel important. And I when we lost her, you wonder, you know, she's 80 years old, you know, not young, not old, but this love that she had for people, for the planet, it's just hard to let somebody like that go. And I even shed some tears, which, you know, I usually don't shed tears for celebrities, but this was one person I feel like she deserved those tears. What about you? It's
been a really emotional week, so well said. And we did just have our Pisces full moon on Thursday night, or depending on where you are, it could have been the 28th as well. And Pisces is a very emotional, a full moon can be very emotional anyway, right? I mean, it's just sort of that brings out the more feminine side, if you will, of energy. It's just sort of, right, the counter to the sun. So I would say, high emotion with that moon, and then eclipse, which is kind of a disruption of the light of the moon. So that was heavy. And yes, absolutely, everything you said. We were reflecting on somebody that truly was a massive success from nothing, by the way. I mean, Dolly Parton started with nothing. And so she is, you know, this is what's going to be great to talk about Julie, because we're going to be talking about manifestation with her. So, and before we bring her on, I do want to say, again, tears of remembrance at the loss of a beautiful, generous woman, tears of absolute horror for a spiritual center on our planet, the Himalayan mountains. I mean, right? There's no higher place on our planet. So it's crazy that is a focus of energy for us, as well as this earth angel we had. So I'd like to welcome Julie right now. Julie, please jump in on our thoughts of what just happened this week, and it will be our way to kind of introduce all the different work that you provide people.
Well, I'm going to give her this because this is a tradition that we have to give her the applause she deserves.
Love it. Well, thank you, Bonnie and Tony, and hello, everyone. It has been such an emotional week with all the loss And like with Dolly, she was just the embodiment of love. Yes,
Yeah.
she was very religious. And just when I heard of her passing, I was in Branson, Missouri, and she has a big stage stampede show there. And so everyone was devastated. But she's just so worldwide and so open-hearted and never judged anybody. So even though she was very, very religious and lived in the Bible Belt, doesn't matter. We shouldn't judge anybody. You know, a lot of people I know are very thick into their religion, but people ask me, well, don't they judge you? What does your husband's family think because you're a medium and they're very religious? And we've never had any headbutting about it because I accept everybody. And I think when you are that's what you get back. You know, everybody has their own level of consciousness and their own belief systems this time around. So,
she always said that she goes, we're not God. It's not our place to judge. And so,
Yes. And I think that's like one of the most important things we can be is non-judgmental, because then you can stay open-hearted, and it just alleviates a lot of crud out of your life.
Yeah.
And the Himalayan mountains, I mean, Shambhala is there. It's an interdimensional place. The masters live there in the Himalayas, the Tibetan monks. And one of my main guides that works with me through my physical mediumship is Dewal Kul. And he was a Tibetan monk in his last incarnation. So it's such a holy place. And then we're talking about mass consciousness. We all have our soul contracts when we come in, and I believe that these souls did have a mass consciousness and knew that it was going to be their time. You know, you don't remember once you're born, but somewhere before they came here, they agreed in the soul contract. I think that's very important to remember, even though it's very sad, you know, when these things happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to jump in on this and keep us, if I may, speak to you a bit more about the guide that you mentioned, and that would be a beautiful entree to the mediumship work that you do. So if we could kind of keep it within the realm of the Himalayas, that would be super interesting for me to hear more.
Okay. Well, there's a book series, Masters of the Far East, and they were written, there's a series of them, and mostly it was about Master Emil, and he is the master of love and the heart center. But my guide, he's been around forever, and these masters incarnate together at certain times during the world when there's always dramatic things happening. He was one of the three kings in the biblical times. So he was, let's see who else he was. He was one of there's a Master Kutumi, and he's a very important master, and Dewal Kul was always his student. So, but he actually mastered in, I believe it was 1865, and he didn't even suffer a physical death. He just dematerialized and ascended. So, I know we think it's hard to wrap your head around it, but if you study the Secret Doctrine and some of these ancient texts, that Madame Blavatsky studied and brought to us in that big, it wasn't really that she wrote the book, but it was just, she brought all this information from India, from Tibet, from China, all these ancient knowledge pieces, and put them into one book. So
she was a theosopher. Do I say that correctly? Is that right?
Yeah. Yes. She actually.
A theosophist.
Yes. She actually started the Theosophical Society.
Oh, wow.
I live very close by to a beautiful little church where people have met through the decades.
Great.
Studying, and there's still actually some courses there. Yes.
Oh,
So
wow.
next time you're in the Hollywood Hills, we'll have to, you'll have to join me.
Oh, great. Yeah, I would love to. Yeah.
It's a beautiful setting. So how did you, so this is some beautiful esoteric history understanding that you have. So do you want to tell us, back it up a little bit and tell us how you came to this wisdom?
Well, I studied a lot. I've studied with some different teachers. I started out with my mental mediumship, which I had that ability since childhood, but didn't understand it and didn't even want to, because I'm a mom. I have 5 kids. I have 13 grandkids.
Wow.
And there was a lot of things going on that people might say paranormal in my household. But it was also because I have a lot of telekinetic energy. So when you mix the telekinesis with the mediumship, it just progressively evolved into things were moving, noises were happening. So I studied with James Van Praagh for a couple years till his 3rd year master program. I studied with some teachers from Arthur Finley. I studied with some physical mediums online, and eventually things started to happen. Things started to levitate. In 2013, that was my first circle that I ever joined, and it was just in the front of a metaphysical shop after hours. And we started out with about 12 people, and after a couple weeks into it, we all had something we were supposed to write down on a card, like a billet, and don't show anybody, and something that we wanted Spirit to show us. And so when it was my turn, I had written down what would help my husband with his migraines. And there were bottles of essential oil came right off the shelves and dropped in front of us all.
Wow.
It scared everybody.
Wow.
So that was like the first time I saw the levitation that could happen. And everybody else saw it too. So
what were the bottles? I know so many people that have migraines. It's so sad for them, but some essential oil work, huh?
Yeah, there was a mixture. Myrrh was one of them.
Oh, myrrh. Okay.
Frankincense, and then there's one that smells really bad. I can't remember it. But it was a mixture, and
cool.
So I mean, that was incredible. It was scary. It was incredible, exciting, and if you weren't there, it's hard to believe.
I want to jump back a little bit, because over the years I've interviewed many psychics. Some people had the ability from day one. Some people inherited even from their mother, grandmother, ancestry. And then some people, it's happened through traumatic experiences, such as near-death experiences, car accident, trauma to the head, whatever. Was there anything that happened in your early childhood that kind of, hate to say knocked the sense into you, but knocked the, that brought this to the forefront? Or was this something that from day one and you found out that it was inherited from a relative?
It started happening to me when I was about 3 to 4. I would see a spirit guide, now that I know who he is too, at my door. I always saw him at the bedroom door, and my sisters couldn't see him, so they made fun of me. But eventually, I was afraid of him in the beginning, very afraid. I thought he was like the boogeyman, and I didn't understand it. And back in those days, there was nobody around here, not in Chicago, where you could go and learn about things. You would have to go to like Omega or Arthur Finley. But in the 90s when the TV shows came out. Mm-hmm. And I was practicing like undercover with my friends and some family, doing readings and practicing. But my husband at that time, like, he hated it. He was embarrassed by it, and he thought it was, anti-religious, and so he didn't want me doing it. So I kind of pushed it back for a little while. But when I had my third child, I did have a near-death experience. And that, after coming out of that, it kind of propelled me, and everything changed in my body. My whole metabolism changed. All of a sudden, I was super sensitive to everything. I couldn't eat eggs anymore. I couldn't eat fish. I couldn't eat nuts. I couldn't eat watermelon. I mean, I was just having like anaphylactic attack after, one another. So, but that's when my super sensitivities came out after that.
Wow. Yeah, because I feel like, like they always say, everybody has the ability. It's just some people, has that connection more than others from day one. And some people, like myself, I consider myself as an empath. I definitely feel other people's feelings. It's hard for me to be around a group of people for very long just because I get drained. But I know women, especially, have that mother intuition. So I'm wondering if that, after your third child, like you said, you've had 5, did after the third child it enhanced? But what about fourth and fifth? Is it like a beacon? Did it like even enhance it more, or was you already aware of that ability pretty much?
I was already aware. And then, and during this time too, I started to be aware when my father was going to become sick. I started getting really, really bad anxiety attacks, feeling like such doom. And I started figuring out, like, it was when I was around somebody who might be getting sick or would soon be diagnosed. And so that was really creepy for me. And after my dad passed, and right before he passed, he was at my house, and you know how they say you see your angels coming for you? Well, he raised up in the bed, and and he gasped, and I saw them too.
Wow. So
I saw them up in the corner of the room. And then he said, "It's time, let's take me to the hospital." So he didn't want to die in front of my kids, so.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that was special to be able to see that,
Julie, I'm going to jump in if I can to talk about this, because you've mentioned, how your father knew. And then you also mentioned how the great masters, one of their cities, if you will, the spiritual miracles that they can perform is, it doesn't have to be a tragic death. They know. I know Paramahansa Yogananda. They knew when it was their time. Or the dematerialization that you mentioned, which is interesting, what you talk about with the levitation and the energy work. So I thought, to me, you're demystifying death here a little bit, and I think it's brave of you to point us in that direction, and gives us courage, right? It's natural. It's the yin and yang of life, right? Life, death. So now you've written a book, Messages from the Beyond.
Yeah, I have it right here. It tells a little bit of my story. Yeah, and there's some of the guides that I talked about.
Oh, okay.
They're still all cool right there. And there's quite a few of them. But like you mentioned Paramahansa Yogananda, and wasn't it beautiful how he had his poem, or the poem My India, recited, and then he just decided that's when he was going to die. That's when he was leaving. And so it does demystify. And I was a paramedic for a while, and I got a job working in the hospital instead because I had kids. I got divorced, and I thought the hospital has better hours. They're not 24-hour shifts, So I worked in a pediatric surgical heart unit, and most of the babies were coming in there because they were born with a heart defect. And sometimes the moms would come through and tour the unit, before their delivery, because they could know where their baby was going to be post-op. And there were some times where I was able to hear and communicate with the unborn children. And that is like my greatest, I think, gift. Because it's like the cycle of life. A soul is a soul. It blew my mind, and at first I thought, am I losing my mind? But, then I noticed quite a few different times that this was happening, or to be present when someone transitions. I remember there was one time that, I had to hold a child and walk it to where the parents were going to be. But I felt in my arms, the way I describe it, and it's like it just happened yesterday. You know how when you're a kid and you hold those sparklers and sometimes they fall on your arm and it kind of hurts, it feels like electricity, it's like ping, ping, ping. You remember that when you're a kid?
Yeah.
Sure, definitely. Love those.
That's how the child felt. There was still energy. So even though someone had passed on, their energy is still, not totally out of their body. So that to me was a very profound experience, because there's still a lot of energy and a lot of life in a life that was pronounced dead or not here anymore.
I've lost both my parents now. My dad died at 90 just this year, and my mom passed away at 79, 8 or 9 years ago.
Sorry.
Their death has changed the way I look about death itself. Before my mother passed away, 2 weeks before she passed away, she called, and I called her every day, so we talked every day, but she's like, I think I'm ready. And I didn't know what that meant. I was like, what do you mean you're ready? And she goes, I just think I'm ready. And I said, oh. And then I finally got what she meant. And I said, well, first, that is between you and God. I said, that's between you and the universe. So, if you're ready, then, I'm going to let you make that decision. And then she also told me that her mother, who she never met, because her real mother left her a year old, she said, my mom keeps visiting me. And I was like, oh. I was like, wow. And she goes, yeah, and there's other people keep visiting me too. And 2 weeks later, she passed. And I was it kind of took me back, because for years I was like, please don't take my mother. Please don't take my mother. But when she accepted it, I did too.
Okay.
And it was made a big impact on me. And then when my dad got sick, I felt the same way. I thought it was more of a blessing, because he was ready. He called me 2 days before and said, I'm ready to go home. And I thought he meant the home, because he was in a nursing home. So when you hear stories like that, and I know you were in your book, you wrote about those moments when you said the veil parts. Was there any particular moment when the spirit world was undeniably so real to you that it, like I said, the experiences I did, that just really made an impact on you, even as a psychic or even as a medium? Could you share one of those?
Well, I do transfiguration mediumship, and that is where I allow my spirit guides, or whoever I'm sitting for or with, to come so close to me that they can build an ectoplasmic mask over my face or hands, or it's been on my neck too. So when you see things like that, and I do that in red light, and I've been recording it for history, because I've had a hybrid circle that I've been doing since 2017, and it was sitting for trance. The very first time I ever sat for trance, I was scared to death. I never wanted to sit for trance, but some friends kept saying, oh, come on, you can do it, let's do it. So I finally gave in, and the very first time I sat for trance was in an online group of friends. Some were from England, one was in Australia, and they were recording it on Zoom, of course. And when I came out, I thought nothing happened, because some of them were like eloquent trance speakers, and and it just really good messages. And here I thought nothing happened. But they said, no, look, watch this. And they had taken some screenshots of all these different faces coming over mine, and you could see like entities standing behind me, and one looked like an angel with wings. And so that was very mind-blowing, but I learned to trust them, because I couldn't do this work if I didn't trust them. So a lot of people fear, from the movie The Exorcist, that ruined it for everybody, right? Everybody's afraid they're going to get overtaken, or, but I know, especially with my team that I work with, which are angelics and these ancient masters that have come through and spoken with independent voice. You can't even imagine what their voices sound like. The vibration goes throughout the whole room. It goes through your soul when you hear these entities speak, and it's always loving, it's always kind, and it's for healing. That's really what I do it for the healing aspect, and for the discovery, so people can know they're around and they exist.
I love that. Well,
so divine, so uplifting to hear the story. Incredible.
Yeah. It is. And I do want to, because Halloween is coming up quickly, and you did mention the circle, I would like to talk a little bit more about, for the people that don't know or what a seance is, or a home circle is. Can you describe what that is and what actually happens during a physical medium development circle? Because I think a lot of people have heard of it, but they either are too scared of it, or they just don't know a lot about it.
Yeah, and that's actually going to be my next book coming out in a few months.
Nice.
So it is a group of people who all want the same outcome. So just because I'm the medium, each and every person who sits in the circle is just as important. They're giving their time for my development, or the spirit's development, and we meet once a week. And you can plan on meeting twice a week, but we do once a week, and we always meet at the same time. It's hybrid, so some people come in person and sit in my home, where I have a seance cabinet, which is an enclosure that has drapery around it, and that's to protect and enclose the energy, to help build the energy, plus to protect the medium if lights were accidentally turned on. And that's for the mediums that work strictly in the dark. So I work in the dark, and there'll be more phenomena in the dark, but I really love doing the red light. So everyone will sit around, and those that come on Zoom, there's a circle leader that I've had, Kimmy, since day one, and she gets everybody organized. She gives the rules and tells everybody to sit as if they were in my home. Try to sit in seance conditions, dim the lights, sing, we play music to raise the vibration in the room, because the spirits need that high vibration. I happen to have a lot of ectoplasm that comes out of my body, So everybody has a little bit of ectoplasm, but some people have like copious amounts of it to where your spirit team can manipulate it and work with it. So there's lots of things they can do. The transfiguration is one. So during our weekly seance, I'll start out in the dark, build up maybe with about 3 songs in the dark, and then the curtain would be opened and the red light turned on. And from that point on, I mean, it's already happening. And outside in the room, things are already happening. You know, they might see flashes of light. They might see like glitter in the air. They might see spirit lights, like balls of different color lights floating around, or hear pounding or knocking, and see materialized beings.
Wow.
So they get touched.
Wow.
So it's really exciting. And by the way, I'll be coming to California in Santa Barbara the first weekend of November, if anybody's not so far. So I have it on my, Facebook page, the information.
Oh my gosh.
And it's going to be
road trip, Tony.
That sounds like a trip to go to.
Yeah, I'll be doing an opportunity for everyone to get a chance to sit in the medium's cabinet, in my cabinet, and try it for yourself and just see how it feels. You know, to sit there, to feel those vibrations. And then, so that's first night is a class, a red light class, and the second night I'll be doing a seance in red light, so that everybody there, because most people, it will be their first sitting, will be able to see like the molecular changes happening over my face or my hands or whatever it may be. Sometimes I grow a large, long beard like some of the Himalayan masters, and you'll see a turban form.
Wow.
And I mean, usually they're some of the first to show up.
What is it about the red light that you use, or what? Not like a blue light or a white light. What is it about the red light?
Well, you could use a blue light too, just not white light. There's something with the white light that makes the ectoplasm dissipate faster. The red light, I think, has like a shorter rod in the photons or something, you know, yeah. So it allows you to see better, and it doesn't dissipate it as fast. But sometimes if my husband's not paying attention and he turns the red light up too high, you can tell, because you won't be able to see things as clearly. I have a picture of a recording where there was a fully materialized being standing right in front of me when I was in the cabinet, but towards the light, so only half the body materialized and the other half was just nothing, because the light was bright. So from like the waist down, it was fully materialized. So
spectacular. I can't even imagine. And like say, Tony, apropos this season where the veil's thin, and we're looking to connect with those our dearly departed, our ancestors, right? Mm-hmm. So
yeah, and a lot of times people will see their loved ones. Like if we're in a public seance and we're doing red light, a lot of times people will say, oh my gosh, that's like my Aunt Mary. That was her face. It looked just like her, you know, and this happens. So I never know who's going to come through. It depends on, I always say, those with the greatest need, please come through, you know, because I don't know anybody in the group. When I go do a seance, I don't have a tally of who's coming. I leave that up to the host or the hostess. So I don't even know their first name unless it's a friend and they say, oh, I'll see you there. But any of the other people, no, I have no idea who's there, who's coming.
Well, what conditions? Because, you know, as we say, as we get closer to Halloween, the veil's thinner, but what conditions are believed to be necessary for materialization of these phenomenons to occur? Is it a time? Is it a time of year? Is it, you know, after a death? So what is the best time to do we call séance or a circle, but what is your thoughts on doing this for so many years? how do you prepare for it, and what, is it the full moon? So give me a rundown on how do you prepare for that?
It's not really anything like that for me. For a physical medium, they're already, it doesn't matter what day it is, if it's a full moon, I've done them in the afternoon, in sunlight.
Oh, wow.
But in a room. So there's no specific time that's better. It's always better in the dark, like I said, for phenomena. But then when you have newer people, they're not going to believe it, or they're going to question it because it was in the dark, Even if you have everybody hold hands. Before COVID, that was a big thing. We all held hands. And so you knew if you were getting touched, it wasn't your neighbor sitting next to you because you had their hands, Right. But then after COVID, nobody wanted to hold hands anymore. But I think that's something I'm going to start bringing back because I think it's important. And for me to prepare, I try to have like a light day. I try to eat light, and once I'm in the room and it starts, I have guests. I invite people to come up, look in the cabinet, pick up the chair, look around, make sure that they're sure there's nothing in there. There's no mist machine, the Halloween, those cauldron misty things, because that's how it can look. I had a friend of mine, when she came over the summer, we did a special seance, and she said it looked like one of those, like a steam machine circling around the trumpet, because on that day I put one of my medium trumpets out in the middle of the room so they would be able to see what was happening around it, and they could see the ectoplasm coming from me and like making its way and circling around that trumpet. So
incredible.
And mostly you just
Tony,
need to be open, open for it.
Yeah. No, I love that. Tony, I'm going to jump in and ask something that was specified, Julie, is it sounds like, I'll just comment that it sounds like you were born with this. This came through naturally. And Tony also mentioned how some people learn these capabilities, right? So these spiritual practices from their relatives a lot of times. But maybe I know I haven't necessarily haven't had anyone teaching me. And you mentioned how the tarot cards could maybe be a good tool. I always like to share with our listeners tools for transformation.
Oh,
so I was I thought, out of all the different things that we could talk about, and I encourage everybody to check out Julie's book, because she is truly a font of wisdom. And we're just touching on a few subjects in our short time together. But I thought maybe we could kind of wrap things up with some comments about tarot, which is an easier tool that everybody may have, or not everyone, but easily acquired.
Yes. Oh, I love tarot. I feel like it's an ancient language. Every time you're looking at any of the symbols or the colors, all of those have spiritual meaning. And anytime you are deciphering a symbol, you're putting it in your reference library, as mental mediums will say, okay? It's in your reference library, and spirits can use that to show you when they're trying to get a message across with mental mediumship. It opens up your clairvoyance wonderfully. Plus, I believe that the major arcana was given from spirit. I feel that because Master Katumi gave us, he was Pythagoras in a previous life. So that's what I mean. All of these masters have been coming around and doing things, big things. So they've had a part of structuring the world as we know it, the ancient world and continuing now. But tarot is the best. It's a great tool. It's a springboard for, even your mediumship. A lot of people say, no, it's only psychic, but I know too many people that they can just pull one card and then they're off into their mediumship. Their spirit guides are there. So
I've seen it. I've seen that. I truly have.
Amazing.
Yeah, so I think
I truly have.
really a great tool.
I think thanks for sharing that, sort of maybe a first step for people that really, because to me, what I'm hearing is so inspiring. And it's like, wow, how can I be more solidly on the path to pull through these divine messages myself? But it doesn't mean that I may not knock on your door sometime soon to see what you got for me too. You do private readings, correct? You do readings for people in addition to the circles that you mentioned, the online classes, and Santa Barbara.
Yeah, I would love to see my people from California, and because it's so open over there, everyone is into yoga and the Kriya yoga. That's what this is part of, So it's all interconnected. No matter what you're doing, one thing is not more important than the other. They're all important. They're all like the same. Just, you just will progress as naturally as you want to.
Well,
thank you.
Julie, before we go, I can't believe it. We're going to have you back because the time has just flown by. I can't believe it. But before we go, is there one message from Spirit or one truth that you have learned throughout these experiences that you believe people need to know or need to hear right now in this day and age?
Yes, I believe that my team has told me, and they talk about this a lot, there are certain words, certain things and actions we can do that are quantum energy. Forgiveness, number one. It's the hardest thing for us to do sometime, right? Forgiveness is huge. It will change your life. It will change the outcome and, the trajectory. Being kind, non-judgmental, and giving love, loving people. Love is the highest vibration. And people just take it as cliche, but almost every day we have an opportunity to change someone's life just by smiling at them or helping them or teaching your child to help them or teaching your child to hold the door for someone. I mean, the little tiny things in life are the most important things. But forgiveness, love, kindness, and trust, that will help propel you really high in your consciousness.
And then one last effort to help people to protect themselves. I know I work with Char Margolis, and she talks about embracing or engulfing yourself into a white light. What would you suggest how people protect themselves from other people's non-forgiveness and other people's, or just seeing the news? How do we protect ourselves spiritually?
Through prayer or intention, whatever you want to call it. I use prayer before I do any reading or any kind of opening any doorway. Prayer. I also surround myself with the white light, the violet flame. I mean, you don't have to stop with the white light. What is your favorite color? Because colors are important too. You can seal yourself with that, but also understand your own power. We are such energetic healing beings. Just the side of our hands. I don't know who anybody does energy healing, but our central meridian, if you take the side of your hand and you run it like from your groin area down up to here and shake it off. It's called the zipper. You're running and you're getting all that icky energy you might have collected and shaking it off. Do it 3 times, once or twice a day. Especially if you are a light worker or you're working helping people, psychology or whatever it is, tarot readings, do it. You're using your hands. Clean your hands, clean your energy. Selenite is great too. You can wand yourself with selenite. And sage. Native Americans knew how important sage was. Just get some of their sage salve.
There we go.
Yes. So you can put the smoke around you, or you can use it on your hands if you can't light it while you're at work,
I love it.
Yeah.
I've got it right here.
All
Maybe there's
nature
this one.
things. Oh, perfect. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we're definitely going to have you back because there's so much more that we can talk to you about and probably give you another 2 hours. But I know time is precious, but I really want people to go. You can go. Julie Adreani's book is Message from the Beyond, One Woman's Journey into Physical Mediumship. You can learn more about Julie at her website, Julie Adreani, spiritmedium.com, and follow her on Instagram and TikTok at Minister of Angels. Is that correct?
Yeah, and Facebook. I'm probably more of a Facebook user because I'm old, you know.
I hear
But
you.
Forever young.
If they want, they could sign up for my newsletter. I try to put through some things with a little value, tips, little lessons, or things to try, psychic games sometimes. So they're welcome to sign up for that, and they'll get it once a month.
Love it.
Excellent.
Well, thank you so much, Julie. You're the best, and I appreciate
Thank you, Tony and Bonnie. It was great meeting you. Thank you for having me. It was a lot of fun.
Thank you
Wonderful
so much.
conversation. So appreciate it. Thank you.
And
I look forward to
Bonnie,
seeing you again.
Where do
Thank
people
you.
find you?
Oh, you can find me at Yogi Bon at Instagram. That's yeah, I'm not going to spell Yogi. You can figure that out. But Yogi_Bon at Instagram.
And you can follow me pretty much everywhere, the Club Paranormal, YouTube, Instagram, website. So, and you can find Truth Be Told and Bonnie's show. Hopefully she'll be getting back in the saddle soon. And but until next time, please share the show, share our work of many years of bringing you content and amazing guests like Julie. And but until next time, take care of yourself and each other. Bye.
Shine on, everyone. Thank you.